Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of The Lowly Maintenance Man. Welcome to my channel. Please click like and subscribe. And this channel is purely for entertainment purposes only, and we're gonna have some fun. Now, my current job, for at least for the next 2 months, is I am in the maintenance department, and I'm an electrician for a local school system. But before that, also I'm a licensed electrical contractor. I do work on the side, and this channel is for any blue collar type of person, whether you turn wrenches or throw wrenches, or whether it doesn't matter whether you lay brick, whether you build houses, whether you plumb, anything, custodians anyway. The little guy that supports the country basically. And of course, the white collar does their part too, but I'm talking about the working man, the blue collar people. Those of us in the blue collar world that are in a dead end job. And that's an inside joke from my buddy Tony. And we have a friend. He's a good guy. He's white collar, but his heart is blue. I mean, he's just as blue collar as the rest of us. And he's in our little group. So now let me tell you about my day. So I sent my guys out to do a job last week, wiring up a mini split. And so you'll have to excuse the noise in the background. So the inspector comes today and inspects it. Okay, I need to start calling this inspector Nitro, because after I read his report, and he's good, he's a nice guy, but boy, he is thorough and he is picky. I needed to pop a nitroglycerin, and it wasn't that much stuff wrong, but he was just picky. I mean, I could argue stuff that doesn't even matter, but it's codes that we got to do it. So now I know that back in biblical times, you had builders, you had stonemasons and stuff, and they did build the pyramids, and they used slave labor and all, but they didn't have any inspectors. And I know this to be a fact, because in biblical times, the tax collector was the most despised man there was. If they had inspectors, the inspector would be, without a doubt. So I get a little calmed down. I'm irritated. My blood pressure's boiling. I talked to my guy, and he said, well, I did this and did that. And so we're going to get it straightened out. No problem. So I got a customer on my side gig, which, when my time's up and I retire, it's going to be my, part-time, full-time gig. So the customer called me last week, so I need you to come over. I'm ready for you to device everything out. So I show up. Paint's not on the walls. When you go to trim out a structure, everything's done. Everything. The toilets might still be getting set and stuff, but pretty much everything's done. The paint's done, the final coat's on paint, everything. So I walk in there, he wasn't ready. There wasn't no paint. So the paint didn't show up. The painters didn't show up. And you didn't call me. So I said, well, I'll be back Monday. You gonna have everything ready. You gonna cut these holes so I can put the recessed cans in it? Yep, I'm gonna cut the holes myself. I got the lights. No problem. So I get there, and what did I find? I found out that, I found out that, in the Bible, they talk about a fella named Boaz. Well, Boaz had a distant cousin, because I showed up and your ass wasn't ready for me. And that was irritating. Nothing that aggravates me more than say, yeah, I'm ready, then you show up. So I have to drive 30 minutes each time, an hour, wasted on he ain't ready. And and he says, well, I need this done by Thursday, by the weekend, because we're going to stay here at the weekend. They've been staying there for a weekend before they did this addition. I'm like, stuff like this always happen. Anybody in the trades, they know that they say, oh, will you give me a price on this? I need some receptacles added or some lights added and so on and so forth. And you give them a price and say, oh, by the way, I need this before Thanksgiving or Christmas, and that's like 3-4 days away. It's like, well, then you tell me that before I gave you the price, because that's going to change. They said, what do you mean it's going to change? I figured it wouldn't take. I said, no. Doesn't work that way, and everybody in the trade knows that. And they said, well, how much extra is it going to be? I said, take that price and double it. And then they decide that they don't really need it before Thanksgiving or Christmas. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people just don't understand what we do. I don't understand what a lot of business people and office people do. But I understand what I do. And, you know, as time progressed, actually I was going to start this channel in a couple months after I did retire, but I decided to go ahead and do it because I had a crappy day. And we all have crappy days. Well, things just don't go right. And then you gotta, you know, you deal with inspectors. Now, I've never argued with an inspector in my whole career. Because I learned a long time from a friend of mine who was an inspector, said, you know, arguing with an inspector is like wrestling a pig in the mud. You ain't gonna win, and the pig likes it. So I've always remembered that. But, you know, I wanted to do this channel for the working class. It doesn't matter whether you drive a truck. It doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't, any of these things. You know, you're blue collar. And we work hard, and sometimes we just don't get the respect we deserve. And I'm using the lowly maintenance man scenario is because I've been in maintenance or facilities for over 20 years at this particular place. But we shall get into that in another episode, because trust me, it's going to be funny. And, you know, like any trade or like mechanics, they say, well, I figured it wouldn't take you but a second. That's not how any of this works. But they don't understand that. And I've even had to tell one customer, well, it wasn't a customer, it was actually at work, where an individual was trying to tell me how to do my job, and this individual was a teacher, and this was a while back. And they kept telling me how to do my job, and I just looked at him, I said, with all due respect, I don't tell you how to teach your students, so please don't tell me how to twist wires. Well, they got a little upset, but, you know, hey, don't try to tell them how to do their job, don't try to tell me how to do my job. But anyway, again, please hit the like and subscribe button. I hope everybody's enjoyed this. If not, it'll get better, because I got some funny stories, but this is just breaking the ice. And, you know, it's for entertainment purposes. If I talk about, you know, particular business entities or whatever, it's all in fun. And that's what it's all about. But that may or may not come later. So, but anyway, I mean, I just had a bad day. And that's why I decided to do this early and start it. Because sometimes we just need to vent, and sometimes we just need a chance to laugh at ourselves. So anyway, y'all keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you next time.